Hey everybody, welcome back to Wicked Good Sports. This is At the Buzzer, and I'm joined as always by Ryan. Ryan, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Brad. Thanks for asking.
And Jack. Jack, how are you doing?
Brian, we're living the dream, man. How are you?
Yeah, I am doing great. Up 1-0 on the Atlanta Hawks with a 112-99 victory just a couple days ago. Or I guess yesterday at the time of recording, right? But a couple days ago at the time when this comes out. So I'm just going to start it off. Jack, thoughts off the top of your head about this matchup?
Man, I think when Ryan and I, when all of us were talking about the team we would rather play in the first round, I think we all would have rather played the Hawks. We just didn't think it was likely. But
Hmm.
now we get to this point, we're playing the Hawks, and I'm excited because this is why we wanted them, because we can kind of stunt on them a little bit. So my initial thoughts obviously are that the Hawks are an offensive minded team.
Yeah.
Um, right, that's first and foremost.
Mhm.
We are I would say, just in the last since the All-Star break, basically our offensive and defensive net ratings in general have been through the roof. I think we're
Mhm.
top, is it not? Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong on this. I know we're top one in something and fourth in another, and I can't remember which is which, but offensive and defensive, we're right there. I think it's first offense, fourth defense net
I
rating overall.
I think I would definitely say since the All-Star break, we they turned it up a lot defensively,
For
and we
sure.
probably the numbers overall probably because of that slump. We definitely fell back offensively, but I would still say the offense is a little higher. But yeah, it's definitely more even, and definitely still I would consider us a defensive team.
Yeah, definitely. And even with Rob coming off the bench and putting on a
Mhm.
defensive clinic, right? Just blocking everything that's up by the net for the most part, whenever he's patrolling the paint, right? Which is so fun to watch. I don't know, man. I think overall it's kind of exactly what we all expected. If Trey Young can't score, we basically have this in the bag, and that's kind of what it felt like. He was just, I don't want
Mhm.
to say abysmal from the field, but he was pretty abysmal from the field. So um, we had, I mean, again, I don't want to steal your thunder, Brian, but you said the Derek White game, and it certainly felt like that in the second half, especially when we needed him most. So that
Yeah,
was
he,
fun to
he will be
watch,
on the thumbnail of this episode. I've already
and
picked out the
deservedly
picture.
so, I would say. And that does underscore, or does not underscore. It's not intended to uh, cloud the performances of Jalen and Jason, with who each had both had double doubles with over 10 rebounds apiece. So and over 25 points apiece. So I'm happy overall with just the performance in general, right? Like, it was kind of what we expected. Definitely let up on the gas big time in the third, but I think it was kind of a, okay, how can we possibly lose this mentality? And I'm okay with that. So um, I think if anything, maybe that'll create a sense of urgency going forward. But I thought, our guys played well. Let's just do it again.
Yeah. So Ryan, are you worried at all about there's a 30-point lead to
No.
go into halftime. It got down all the way to 12. It finishes a 13-point victory. Does that worry you at all, or is it really just like Celtics are
No.
kind of resting their main
No,
players?
not at all. I mean, I think it was resting it again. We kind of talked about it yesterday during the game. This team does have a lot of talent and they run pretty deep. I mean, depending, like Bogdanovich, Bay, like, right, those guys can like spot start. Uh, DeAndre Hunter is pretty underwhelming for what he was supposed to be, but you can just list guy after a Kongu's number 4 pick. He can pop once in a while. So I mean, they're just there's just a lot of guys. So there's that, and also again, yeah, I think they just kind of fell a little bit, but it wasn't like earlier in the season when we'd really see the Celtics fall apart. I think it's just kind of one of those things we're going to see a lot of people like talk about it until Tuesday just to have something to talk about, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not. There was nothing worrying. I think we pretty much dominated that entire game, regardless. Like Jack said, Trey just couldn't get started, which is really the big thing. That would have been my only concern going into the series is if we seemed a little spotty at first, it goes to like 2-2, 2-1. There's a close game, and then Trey is getting going and he just pops off. Then maybe, but like I really can't see the Hawks making much of a run there. We just got anything we wanted
Yeah.
um, offensively, and I mean they have a couple guys you can just absolutely exploit on the defensive end.
Trey
And
being one of them.
yeah, Trey and John Collins are the first two that come to
Yeah.
mind for sure. And even like Trey, to his credit, he did hit a couple of those deep threes Early on, though, Smart made a really good play and caught them on an illegal screen. And I don't know if you remember this, but like Trey sunk a beautiful deep three, and like I think had that counted, maybe that would have shifted things a little bit.
Yeah.
But it really, DeJounte Murray, good player, but overall, the Hawks just don't have enough together right now to really make this any sort of series. And honestly, I wouldn't have said this before, but after watching yesterday, I'm kind of leaning towards sweep, but I think the Hawks get one at most.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that after this first game. Obviously, we didn't know last time we talked exactly who they were going to play, but yeah, Ryan, you say sweep. Jack, what do you think for this series?
I'm incredibly biased because I have Game 5 tickets in Boston, but I think
Nah,
if I'm being real, I think it's probably a sweep. So I'm expecting to get my money back for that as well. I don't
Right.
think it's, yeah, I don't see I think we win probably game 2 almost guaranteed. And then maybe they take one in Atlanta, but like that's the only way that I could see this going more than 4 games for sure. And if this goes 5 or 6 games especially, I think is unheard of at this point based on how much we dominated them in the first half of this game.
yeah,
We're up by 30, right? Like that's not,
Yeah.
you don't see that in the playoffs. Like that
no,
doesn't
not
happen.
often.
No, not often, right? So if like the only other time we saw that is Mavs Suns last year, or at least in recent memory, I should say.
Yeah, that was
But
brutal.
yeah, it was bad. But here we are a year later and how the tables have turned. No, I think overall, I think it's probably 4 games.
Yeah, and I guess is there anything else specifically about this game that you guys wanted to mention that we didn't yet?
I guess just in particular, it was really good to see how engaged Rob was offensively, how much they got him involved. I was honestly worried about how he would match up here just because with them, you almost don't want to get Clint Capella super involved, or you kind of want to keep the perimeter game and just have us, we can absolutely, like Shante Murray's great, Trey's great, but like with our size, you just keep it to like Brown, Tatum, and then everything else we can just dominate them. But it wasn't, I just don't. Capella can't. If I had to guess, he can't really keep up with Rob.
No way.
And Rob's just everywhere, and Capella kind of prides himself as a versatile defender for a center. I think that might have been right for like when he started in the league for a center. That was true for sure, but like they've definitely tried putting him even on like bigger guards like Doncic and stuff, and
Blows by.
obviously it's Luka, but like anytime he kind of seeks out those kind of matchups, he just can't do it.
Yeah, and Jack, same thing. Anything else you want to add?
I was just thinking, I looked at the numbers again, just the box score, because I was curious to see who played and how many minutes. Surprised to see that Grant Williams didn't play, to be honest. I know it's kind of
not a matchup for him. I was going to say because if you really think about it, what he does is like it's kind of more versatile, right? The more mobile bigs, he's really good for like a Giannis who is going to be handling the ball a lot, even an Embiid who's looking to shoot or handles the ball quite a bit. Because Grant's really good at just he's for how thick he's pretty quick for being so thick, and he just gets right up and underneath you. It makes it pretty tricky. No matter how tall you are, that's his thing. This team just doesn't operate like that, right? Like Clint Capella offensively is pretty much. I mean, he's a great lob threat. I really like.
Yeah.
I want to say I really like Clint Capella. I'm not like really nice, just center who plays his role perfectly. But so it's just not really a great matchup for Grant. That would be
for
my
sure.
take.
But
he should have played a few minutes in a blowout.
That's what I was thinking.
It was weird.
I was surprised that Hauser got the minutes over him. I'm glad to see Hauser get the minutes because I think he's earned them this season, right? He's been on fire for sure. But I thought, okay, maybe we'll see Grant this game. But yeah, it makes sense matchup wise. The only time I could have maybe he could have tried to defend Collins, right? Go in there as a Collins stopper, but like he wasn't really on ever, so there was not really a need for it,
Collins is probably faster. It would be my
Collins is definitely faster.
Collins is just we're talking about the mobile, like right. Grant is pretty quick, but like John Collins,
he's gonna blow by.
It's very explosive. Yeah, very explosive.
The only thing I could have thought was if you keep Grant on the perimeter and then you have Rob in the paint waiting for him. But otherwise, you're right. It's basically that's it. Like otherwise, there's no point to play Grant this game at all. But I still, I'm still surprised because it makes you think, just like long term here. And I know we're talking playoffs, but long term, does that basically mean this is the end of Grant Williams in Boston, or like what does that mean? Because I think it's probably the case. I think he's going to sign an offer sheet and he's gone this offseason. But
I agree, but who would guard, like I just talked about, those kind of matchups? We have no
yeah,
one really else equipped to like guard those guys most
you
of
have
the,
to do like Tatum. Yeah,
consistently.
right.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tatum is the second one because I mean, right, Al is just he's getting
He's not
older
fast
and
enough, right?
he's getting older. He's not always fast enough, and like Rob just isn't a good man. He is pretty much non-existent as a man-to-man
Yeah,
defender. They don't even attempt to use him like that.
no,
So
he's so much better as that roamer in the
yeah.
paint, But yeah,
Mhm.
so what's the point of even trying that? So yeah, I agree. But it's interesting to see. That's what I'm getting at, right? It's because Grant
Absolutely.
is, Grant was a centerpiece of the rotation last year, so he's kind of fallen out a little bit.
I mean, there's a reason they went for Jacob Pertl in the
Yep.
before the trade deadline. That was
That's
a
true.
weird one, but it would kind of make sense.
Especially now that we're looking at the makeup and we're like, yeah, like that definitely could have fit a little bit better. But
Yeah, I would have liked to have him for sure.
you do.
All right. So, anything else about the playoffs that you guys want to talk about? Any surprising moments, matchups, anything that really stood out? Ryan, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I would say obviously there is the blowout with the Bucks and Heat today. The Bucks just didn't look very good, but obviously Giannis was at first, but like obviously Giannis, got injured. That was unfortunate. It'll be interesting to see how it goes moving forward. I don't really know what his injury status is. I can't imagine this is how the rest of the series is going to go. But it's definitely not what we expected for a start, and to feel, it's just crazy how this season has been up and down, especially with the Celtics and Bucks. In terms of who's better. Like, it's one team is always in like really good fortune, and the other one seems to be on the fall. So I mean, we'll see next week. Everyone could be trashing the Celtics and praising the Bucks again.
Yeah. It's really going to come down to how bad that injury is, right? Like,
Yep.
we don't know right now. It just happened a few hours ago as we're recording this, and I mean, he's such a big part of the Bucks, and I mean, the Heat are scrappy, so maybe we're going to have to play the Heat anyways now after this, even though we thought we avoided them.
That would be wild.
It would be insane. It would be. I love it. It would be insane. But
yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how the injury shakes out. But yeah, Tyler Hero too broke his hand in that game, so that sucks.
A lot of injuries. Yeah,
that was quick. Only other thing I would say, just by looking at some of this, right, is the Kings. Kings win. Let's go, light the beam. And then the Knicks beat the Cavs, which, to be honest with you, as a Celtics fan, I don't want to play either of those two teams. So whoever comes out of that is like shit, like it doesn't. It's kind of a hitter, like lose really. But I guess the best we can hope for is a 7-game series, because then they'll tire each other out, and give us some time to rest. But I don't think, based on the seeding, I don't think we end up playing them anyway, most likely, unless the Heat. I don't know how totally, but it's too much speculation. So no, that's it. Go Kings, and go Lakers. I guess. Didn't think I'd ever be saying that, but I just can't stand the Grizzlies right now. So
yeah, you hate the Grizzlies. I know that.
I hate the Grizzlies, man. I hate them. It's Dylan Brooks, man. I can't stand Dylan Brooks. I think Desmond Bane's a prick. I hate Ja. I do love
Who
Steven
also
Adams.
got hurt today.
Ja got hurt. I'm not rooting for anybody's injuries, of course.
I like Jaren Jackson Jr. a lot.
I love Jaren Jackson Jr. and I love Steven Adams, and then everybody else on that team I could not care less about.
David Roddy's cool. David Roddy's cool.
David Roddy's okay. David Roddy's cool. I agree.
Just like a nose tackle playing
or
basketball.
Who's the Lofton? Give me Lofton too.
Kenneth Lofton's like the biggest dick on that team.
He absolutely is. But
he's a huge prick.
But it's funny to watch him play because
I like him. Yeah,
he's so like not prototypical at all. It's just like, what is this dude doing out here?
He's basically like it's like the modern version of Boogie Cousins.
Yeah, pretty much. And if you look at, he's like that guy that all the viral clips of Taco in high school, like Taco versus that big dude that's just like pulverizing him. That's just this guy. That's just Kenny Lofton. That's who that is.
I mean, if you saw, Summer, the perfect example of him is like if you watch Summer League, like when he went up against Chet Holmgren.
Yes.
And, Chet looked amazing in Summer League, but like he just could not get anything up
Physically.
against
Right.
Kenneth Lofton. And if you actually knew that so Chet and him are actually friends.
Oh, no way.
And Chet openly said, like, hey, Kenneth Lofton's a really good player. He's going to be in the NBA for a long time. We're going to go at it every time. And, Kenneth Lofton loves to talk trash. You saw him, like, mouthing off to Holmgren. But they were on the U.S. under-18 team together, and they played against France with Wembanyama. And Lofton, given that was a young Wemby, but, like, he couldn't get anything up against Lofton again.
That's crazy.
That's what just Lofton does well.
That's what his thing is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just a complete stopper in the paint.
And he can just get really tough. Like he is incredibly physical.
He's surprisingly quick too, to be honest, for his size. But
very, yeah, and he can shoot. He can shoot too. I mean, he's got a really. The thing with him is going to be to play like that. You're going to have to lose some weight.
Drop a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah.
So yeah, that said, I still hate the Grizzlies. That's all.
Hey, then Austin Reeves was the toast of Twitter at least this afternoon.
Austin Reeves is really good.
Yeah. No, he's great, and I mean, people were loving him obviously for hitting the game winner today. So, yeah.
It's a hot take. I think that actually Austin Reeves, at the same age as Kevin Huerter, he's going to be at least better than Kevin Huerter offensively.
That is a hot take. I will have to wait a couple of years to see it come to fruition, but I agree.
He's already very good. I mean,
he is. If he gets a little bit better, I think
that's what I'm saying. I don't think he's that far. That's the thing.
It might just be next year. Yeah.
Yeah, his play. Dude, have you seen some of the passes he was making? Like just out and stuff. And he can, and his ability to draw fouls is impressive. And I know that he was he was a really high volume scorer in college, in high school, especially. So he had guys like that can have that in their repertoire. But to see a smaller guy, guard like him, be able to draw fouls like that is very impressive. It's a good sign.
Definitely. All right. Well, next game is Tuesday. Jack and I will be here to cover that, and then Ryan will be back next week. So other than that, anything you guys want to promote? Where can they find you online? Ryan, start with you.
I got nothing really.
That's all right. Jack, where can they find you online?
Sure. Best place to find me is on Twitter, and that's at Jack_Tiernan. Follow me there for my NBA playoff takes for sure. You can also follow my disc golf account on Instagram, and that's at Jack Disc Golf. So follow me those places.
Awesome. So you can follow me on Twitter at @theFakeMarr. That's VMARR. Most of the time, I'm just complaining about Survivor these days because they have ruined the game that I once loved. But occasionally, I'll tweet about other things like Succession and the NBA playoffs. So check that out. And then we are on pretty much every platform as Wicked Good Sports. So find us wherever you want. We'll be there. So guys, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
And we'll see you all in the next one.